INTLIV. I'm your host Chijoke Ochubili, and today we're going to be talking about the big match preview, or rather the tactical preview of the big match, Inter Milan against Liverpool. That is our selected game for this period of analysis. Okay, now we're going to talk about how both teams are going to set up right now. So over here, I already set the board up, whereby the team on red, Liverpool, the team on light green, Inter Milan. Sorry, I couldn't get any board with multiple colors. The board just came with red and green. So let's just assume this is Liverpool, this is Inter Milan, and the team I'm actually predicting that is going to start for the game. I predict a 4-3-3 for Liverpool, while a 3-5-2 for Inter Milan, whereby with Inter we're expecting Handanovic, the number back three of Skriniar, the fridge, Bastoni. We're very certain that Bastoni will actually start this game after serving a suspension at the weekend against Napoli. Then it's the midfield that is a bit trickish, because we're actually thinking whether there's actually going to be a change. We know that the two wing backs actually are going to be Dumfries on the right, Perisic on the left. Now we know that Brozovic is always the deepest, or rather the pivot in the middle of the five-man across midfield. We expect that please forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce his name very well. Hakanoglu is going to be here. Why? Based on Barella is suspended for the entire time, home and away, suspended after his ridiculous red card against Real Madrid. We're thinking, is either going to be Gagliardini or Arturo Vidal that will start. My mind is on Gagliardini, because most times when Barella doesn't play, Gagliardini that plays in his place. Why the attack? We're expecting Dzeko, Lautaro Martinez to complete the 3-5-2 formation for Inter. Why for Liverpool? Normal level, 4-3-3. Normal back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joao Matip, Virgil van Dijk, and Robertson. And in the midfield, I think based on European ties, big European nights away, I'm going for Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson. Why Henderson starts? Because it's an away match. I feel that Klopp will want to go for a safe pair of hands, so he's going to actually go with his trusted three midfield. Whenever these three are all fit, most times they start together. So I'm sure he's going to start this. I have a feeling he's going to start there. In attack, Salah, Mane, and likely Diogo Jota. I think he's going to start Diogo Jota, because these are the kind of games whereby I think, based on Inter Milan is an Italian side, you have to be clinical in front of us. So I think he's going to start with Jota instead of Firmino. After all, Jota rested in the weekend. There were talks that he had a dead leg in training, but I think he's going to start this game. So that is how Liverpool are going to start, 4-3-3. So it's going to be a 3-5-2 by Inter against Liverpool's 4-3-3. Simone Inzaghi against Jurgen Klopp. Italia against Germany. Wonderful. It should be a very cracking game. Now, we're going to now talk about how Inter Milan, that is, we're going to talk about what Liverpool should expect in the game. As an analyst, that's what I suspect Inter Milan will play. We're going to talk about certain occurrences that Inter Milan hold as strengths in their game. Now, the first thing that Liverpool should be wary about in this game is Inter Milan's wing-back play. Excuse me, please. Yeah. Inter Milan's wing-back play. That's the first thing that Liverpool should be wary about in this game. Now, Inter Milan have two fantastic wing-backs in there's a Dumfries and Ivan Perisic. Now, when these two start together, there's always a certain style of play that Simone Inzaghi has instilled into the two wing backs. In most cases, when Perisic is over here, let's just put him here, you're already expecting Dumfries to start making a run. A diagonal run into the box. You start already expecting him to make that diagonal run. You expect him to make the diagonal run inside the box. Now, just imagine, okay, let's press it with the ball. Then you have Dzeko, you have Martinez, then maybe Akanchanoglou is over here. Oh, sorry. Akanchanoglou is over here. Then you have this guy's here. Okay? Let's just imagine that. Now, in most cases, this is what happens. One of the attackers, they always like go into the small area. They call this box over here the small area. This side of the penalty box, the small area. Now, one of them goes deep in. Why Perez most times he just goes forward a bit with the ball. Now, ideally, what you expect is for Perez to be looking for, say, the Dzeko that's over here right now. But instead of going for Dzeko actually draws the defender around him, or rather in front of him. Perez, on the other hand, his mind is actually to fight Dumfries, and he gives a delightful cross to Dumfries. The ball goes to Dumfries, and in most cases, Dumfries is always aiming for this corner because he's right-footed, so ideally he's going to go for the right-footed corner on this side. So his balls will most likely go here. This is an occurrence in Inter Milan's game. That is why if you check statistic, Dumfries has like 3 to 5 goals this season for a wing back. That is actually impressive. While Perez, on the other hand, has 3 goals but 5 assists or so. I can't remember. My mind is escaping my mind right now. So this is something Liverpool should be aware about come the night, whereby the wing back comes here. His other partner has always started making runs, goes runs in, and the 2 forwards, one of them goes here, while the other one tries to drag his marker with him so that there will be a space for Dumfries to have a chance to shoot. Liverpool should be aware of this. Now, staying with Denzel Dumfries, Liverpool should be aware of Denzel Dumfries a lot. He's a threat from wing back a lot. Simone Inzaghi always expects a lot from Denzel Dumfries in the attacking third. He's expected to make diagonal runs into the box so that instead of just having 2 men within the box, you have a 3rd man. Thereby, he's almost like a free man. The opposition CB is marking one of the forwards, another opposition CB is marking one of the forwards. So you have 2 1v1 duels, but Denzel Dumfries is left isolated. So he has a specific task. His task is mainly to get to the box, to make that last man runs into the box. Rather than the midfielder making the last man run into the box, Denzel Dumfries is the one that makes the last man run into the box. That is why if you actually watch Simone Inzaghi, and it's also something that's common with Antonio Conte in anything he plays with a 3-man defense, he always starts with one winger that plays as an auxiliary, or rather a makeshift wing back, why a fullback that's an actual fullback that plays wing back. The winger's one is always to do what? Provide width. That is why Perez is always, if you watch his game, he's always out wide. He's always wide. Why the fullback who serves as the wing back is always the one that either makes diagonal runs, because to mark a fullback that makes runs into the box is always something that's uncommon. It doesn't enter the opposition's defense tactics. So it's always an unexpected trick. So there's Dumfries. He has a specific task. I expect this a lot in that match on Wednesday, that Dumfries will actually have an impact in the opposition box for Inter. He might even score a goal. I expect him to score a goal. If Inter have to score, I expect him to be pivotal in scoring a goal in this game. Now, this is a very, very compact. This is a very simple one. Not like it's very simple, but it's actually one that Liverpool should be very, very, very wary about. They should be actually wary about. Inter Milan are known for having a very, very good corner kick specialist in Akanchanoglou. He's very good when it comes to corner, especially when it comes to corners from Inter's right. Now, when marking, Inter as much as possible try to fill the box, especially the small area, which is this part, a bit. They try to fill it up a bit. Remember, you have people actually, staying in there, small area, and all that. Now, the thing is this: Inter with Çalhanoğlu when he's playing an in-swinging cross. An in-swinging cross is taking a corner kick from an area whereby your strong foot coincides. So someone like Çalhanoğlu is taking an in-swinging cross. His strong foot is his right leg, so he's going to take an in-swinging cross from the right side, right corner flag, meaning his strong foot is equivalent to his strong foot, which is his right foot, is equivalent to the right corner kick. So he's going to take an in-swinging cross. Inter always try to do this with Çalhanoğlu. When he takes the corner, he hardly goes for the penalty spot area. This spot they call it the penalty spot area. So what Çalhanoğlu normally does is this: when he takes his corner, he takes an in-swinging ball that evades everybody and targets this spot. This is always the spot he's targeting. He's always targeting the far post area. They call this the far post area. When they divide the penalty area, they call it the far post area. He's always looking for someone there. In most cases, there's always someone there to receive the ball and strike it at goal. This is a trick that Çalhanoğlu always does with an in-swinging cross. In some cases, what they normally do with Çalhanoğlu is sometimes he goes for the near post, and you see someone rushing in to give a glancing header that goes this direction. Powerful glancing header, that goes this direction. So in most cases, what Liverpool should be wary about with Inter strength is corner kicks from the right, in swinging. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is either he goes here, the far post area, because there's always somebody. He always makes sure that there's somebody here that strikes the ball here, that strikes the ball and go from here, or he goes for the near post with someone coming in, someone is rushing in to give a glancing header that is powerful into the opposition goal. Liverpool should be aware of that. That is one of Inter's strengths. Another thing that Liverpool should be wary about with Inter Milan is their ability to shoot from outside the box. Inter Milan have excellent shooters in Brozovic, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Barella, and even Bastoni. Bastoni, the centre back, is very good with shots. In the Italian Serie A alone, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, his average shots per yard is 23.5 yards. Brozovic 21.1 yards, while Bastoni 20.8, and finally Barella 20.1. So in Inter, they actually have 3 excellent shooters in midfield. So this is a team that they love shooting a lot from outside. So, and even in the Serie A itself, it's also stated that shots on target by Inter per 90 minutes, they are first on the log with 6.00 shots. So in every match they play, you expect them to have 6 shots on target. That is quite high for 90 minutes. That is quite high. 6 shots on target. That means Alisson is going to have a very busy night. While goals on targets, they have a rate of 0.34, which is the 5th best in Serie A. Not bad for a side, for an Italian team. So Alisson is supposed to be wary. Now, Barella is suspended. With Barella suspended, Inter have only 2 people in midfield that shoot very well: Brozovic and Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And this man over here called Hakan Çalhanoğlu is very, very dangerous from outside the box. His shooting ability is, we all know his shooting ability from his Bundesliga days at Leverkusen and Hamburg. Liverpool are supposed to be very wary of him. You expect someone like Alisson to be careful, because we've seen sometimes in the Premier League whereby Alisson is known to always come off his line or to be outside his line a bit in a small area. He's supposed to be very careful. Most times in this match I expect him to be a bit closer to his goal post, because like we saw against Brighton, whereby Liverpool scored from watching Alisson off his line. He is meant to be either well protected by players in front of him, whereby someone is in front of Hakan Çalhanoğlu when he wants to shoot to prevent him from actually having a shot, or he stays close to his line so that whenever a shot is taken, it's well protected. Inter Milan take a lot of shots outside. If Barella was starting, it could have been really, really messy for Liverpool, because most times their shots from outside the box are always accurate. So it's a strength of theirs that Liverpool have to worry about. Now, the last point of Inter's strength in this video is this. When Inter Milan are playing, like I said earlier, Dumfries has a specific task. He's supposed to make a diagonal run into the box. Now, when Dumfries makes a run into the box, this is what happens. He makes a run and he floods it, thereby causing a 2v1 situation between opposition centre back and him and one of the forwards. Once he makes the run, and when Perisic is far on this side with the ball, Dumfries in some cases does this. He drags himself close to the keeper, thereby dragging the centre back. But in some situations, when he drags the centre back with him, the opposition players, in some cases, based on the striker is actually a danger, because he's a striker, he's a danger man. The opposition, sometimes the player follows the striker, thereby creating an opening for one of Inter's number 8, because they play between number 8 in that 5-man midfield, whereby there's one flanking the deepest of the midfielders. Makes a diagonal run in here and is expecting Perisic to bring the ball here for him to have a clear chance at goal. This is something that Liverpool should be aware of. But that late man runs from midfield from one of the number 8s. Dumfries is always the one. If he's not causing a distraction in the box to actually have a clear chance at goal, he's either dragging the opposition centre back with him so that there's an opening for a teammate, which is normally the number 8, to come in, and Perisic crosses a one-time ball to him. Perisic is very good when it comes to crosses. Liverpool should be very, very wary of it. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is wary of it because there was a time he played under Jurgen Klopp in Dortmund. So he's going to know exactly what to expect from Perisic. He's a danger man, Ivan Perisic. Now, I'm going to talk about Inter Milan's weakness as a team. Now, Inter Milan, there's something about their 3-man defense that I think is a weakness for Liverpool to exploit, and that is why I think Diogo Jota will make sense in this game. When Inter play, there's always this problem they have with their centre backs. When a player comes to the Inter attack, a forward in particular comes to the Inter attack, is with the ball, and when their defense is stretched, most of the times, the player with the ball, be this guy, player with the ball, instead of having a direct rival with him like this, in some cases, or rather in most cases, especially in big games that involve top sides, Inter make the mistake of having one of the centre backs drag in here to cause a 2v1 situation. And in most cases, based on this kind of situation, they always expect that Dumfries is the one that's actually retrieving back. Dumfries retrieves back, so give it a makeshift back four. But in most cases, based on Dumfries is always late, there's always an overwhelmed number whereby you have a 2v3 situation here. A 2v3 situation that with just one little pass alone here, and this guy trying to catch him, someone can make a diagonal late run and the ball reaches him and boom, chance at goal. So Inter Milan, they always have this situation whereby two of the centre backs are always marking one player with the ball. This is an error from them. So in most cases, Liverpool should actually target this a lot, especially with Mane and Salah, because it means that there's always going to be room in the middle for someone to receive the ball and to have a chance at goal. Now, another weakness from Inter Milan is this. Based on they have two wing backs, and they have one of the wing backs as a makeshift in Ivan Perisic, I think Liverpool are going to have a lot of joy on their right hand side. Liverpool's right hand side, they're going to have a lot of joy here with Mo Salah, because Perisic is not very good at recovery runs back to form a four-man defense here. He's not very good. Most times his recovery runs are not very on point. So there's always going to be room in this area. And I expect a right-sided midfielder and the right-sided fullback, Trent Alexander-Arnold, to actually exploit this, because Perisic doesn't run back easily, because recovery runs is not something of his. Why Akanji Calhanoglu Very good midfielder, but he's not also very good at recoveries too. So in most cases, well, he does his best. This area is always quite open. So in most cases, I expect Liverpool to actually do what? Do certain triangular passes. I remember, I'm just doing triangles. I expect them to do triangular passes, yeah. Now, for Inter's sake, this is what they should look out for. This is what Inter should prepare for when they play Liverpool, because this is a big weakness. When Liverpool play the triangle here, if it is Mo Salah that is with the ball, there's a very likely possibility that maybe, okay, if he's with the ball and Trent Alexander-Arnold goes here, and he passes it to Arnold, there's a very likely possibility he's going to give a low pass into the box, and he's expecting someone like Diego Jota or Firmino to actually receive the ball and perform a tapping finish. In some cases whereby the right midfielder, most likely Jordan Henderson, is the one that actually does this. He's on the wing instead of Arnold. But sometimes Arnold can actually be the one interior. These days we are seeing him play a lot in the half spaces. So in some cases whereby Jordan Henderson is the one with the ball, the moment this ball goes to Henderson, Inter Milan, their centre backs are supposed to switch on. Henderson is not going to pass low. Henderson is likely going to give a cross into the box. And in most cases when he gives this cross, it's most likely that the person that is going to actually connect with this ball is going to be Sadio Mane with a diving header to the Inter Milan goal. Inter Milan should be very wary of this move. This triangular passing range from Liverpool. If Salah is with the ball, he passes to Henderson, expect a cross. If it's not Henderson that is with the ball, Trent, expect what? A low cross. Inter, be wary of that, because this is a weakness. This right side of Liverpool is going to have a lot of ball movement, ball circulation on Wednesday night. I expect that a lot. Now, another weakness from Inter Milan is this. Inter Milan, they have a back three, a flat back three of the screener over here, Leverage in the middle, Bastoni as the left-sided flanking centre back. Now, the thing is this: Inter have a ball-playing defender in Bastoni. Bastoni is very good in carrying the ball from defense. In some cases, he carries it from defense to attack. Carries the ball from defense to attack excellently well, just as the way Dramati does it for Liverpool, thereby causing a midfield overload in some cases. Instead of having 5 men across midfield for Inter, you now have 6 men across midfield for Inter. But this is the thing: he's very good at carrying the ball into midfield, thereby flooding the midfield. But based on you're playing a very pacey side in Liverpool, they have pacey players in Mo Salah and Sadio Mane on the flanks. Inter should be very wary, because this is a weakness. If for any reason Bastoni with this ball carries the ball in, and maybe he misplaces a pass, maybe he's meant to pass it to this guy, but the Liverpool centre back carries this ball, he's already committed. And in some cases you expect either of Brezovic or Çalhanoğlu to actually make, they should actually cover for him. Maybe they actually go somewhere here so they can cover for him, so it will still maintain a bit of shape in the vigilance area, whereby the vigilance area still has men. But sometimes they are not very good at it, based on once Bastoni goes forward, sometimes you expect them to be in to make more bodies. But if this ball is lost to a Liverpool centre back or a Liverpool defender, or the ball is won in general, the moment this ball gets to his leg, the first thing in the player's mind is to actually do an up ball. So whoever is in this area, most likely Salah or maybe Jota or Firmino, and what happens? We have a situation whereby we have a 2v3 situation, because most cases Brezovic or Çalhanoğlu, they are not very good at going back to cover for Bastoni's movement into the opposition area, and hence the vigilant block is a bit outnumbered, whereby we have 3v2 which is wrong. Inter have to be very careful of this. So if Bastoni is passing the ball, he's meant to make good recovery runs back to his position. Or one of Brezovic or Akantanoglu covers in for him. The last point I want to talk as a weakness for Inter Milan is this. They should be very aware of Dumfries' movements. Dumfries is very attacking minded. This young man, this Dutch fullback, is very attacking minded. That once that creates a chance here, he's already within the box. Now, what happens if? Now the question is this: what happens if this chance creation doesn't yield a goal or a chance at goal? Maybe one of the centre back, the ball is crossed, and one of the centre backs heads it away. What happens? Dumfries is meant to make a very good recovery run back to his position, because if he goes and maybe a defender, he crosses the ball, a defender stops it. Maybe this is Fabinho over here. Defender stops it, gives it to Fabinho. Fabinho is with the ball. There's every likely possibility that there will be somebody here, and that person is likely going to be Thiago, but I expect Thiago to start. And Fabinho is going to actually look for it to give the ball to Thiago. Thiago is going to run with the ball, and Mane here using the ball, thereby creating a 3v3 situation between the Inter centre backs and the Liverpool forwards. So you have 1v1 duels in this area. Inter needs Dumfries to be active in his recovery runs, because between the two wing backs, he's the defender. He's the one that is actually a full back by trade. Perisic is just a makeshift wing back because he's a winger by trade. He's the one that is meant to make recovery runs, intelligent recovery runs back, to actually cause a four-man defense. Though this area will be a bit open, but at least the right-hand side of Inter's defense is well protected. So he, as Dumfries, has a lot to do in recovering back to make a four-man defense. And this is a weakness I expect Liverpool to actually exploit a lot, whereby anytime Perisic tries to cross the ball, they try to win it, and when they win it, they try to actually infiltrate midfield and bypass it. And in most cases, instead of us infiltrating the midfield, because Inter have strong players in that engine room of their midfield, in Brezovic, Akantanoglu, or one of Gagliardini or Vidal that starts for Barella. So instead of actually going through the midfield, they just carry the ball and bypass it and give it to one of the forwards up front, thereby causing a direct 3v3 situations between the Liverpool forwards and the Inter Milan back three. Boom. Now, we are going to talk about Liverpool's strengths and style of play. Mainly their strengths. Now, the number one strength I want Inter to actually be wary about, because this is going to be a huge occurrence in this game. I'm very sure about this. Inter Milan are going to actually face this a lot in this game. The number one occurrence that Inter should be very wary about is Liverpool's strength. Liverpool have an excellent offside trap in games. Over the weekend, there was a statistics that is very, very crazy. I was amazed when I saw a statistic on FBref.com. It's a statistics page, just like the way we have Wisecout and the rest of the statistics page for fans. I checked this. Number of offsides won by a side, that is, won by the opposition. Liverpool come out number one, and it's fine, it shows they're good at playing the offside trap. But here's the funny statistics here. They come out number one with 101 calls. That itself is large, when you consider the number two team being with a total of 41 offside calls. That's calls benefiting them. So what it simply means is that Liverpool play a very excellent offside trap with their back four. And this itself is a strength. Inter have to be very wary of this, because ever since the introduction of the video assistant referee VAR, Klopp has been working hard in training to actually make his defense play the offside trap well, because the human error is now completely completely evaporated now that you have the video assistant referee. So if an opposition scores a goal, there's every likely possibility from this kind of situation it's going to be offside, because the video assistant referee is going to help out. So they've actually been very excellent in performing offside traps a lot. Inter have to work very hard with this, and they have to be very careful, because the player that in most cases I've watched Liverpool games, the player that is actually serving as a reference player is always Virgil van Dijk. He's always the one commanding his back line, when to push out, when to push back, when to push out for the offside trap. He's always the one command. You see him giving direction as if push front a bit and the rest follow suit to push out. Though in some cases we've actually seen some games whereby he commands the defense to push out, but in most cases it's always Robertson that is what always left behind, and in some cases thereby making the offside trap negligible. So this is a huge strength of Liverpool, the offside trap. Another strength of Liverpool is this. I expect this in this game. Based on Inter play a narrow three-man defense that is compact. What I expect from Liverpool is this. Liverpool, especially with diagonal passes from Virgil van Dijk, I expect him to give a lot of diagonal passes in this game, up front. What I expect is this. When Virgil van Dijk is with the ball, I expect one of Mane or Salah to actually do what? Stretch the width of the pitch. So once Van Dijk is with the ball, you expect these guys to be somewhere here already. Once he's with the ball, you expect diagonal ball to this guy or one to this guy here. Thereby, they are stretching the width of the pitch. So you either see a ball going to this guy here, or you see a ball going to this guy here. They stretch the width of the pitch, and in some cases, we start seeing Liverpool play what they call a transition called 6+4. The 6+4 transition, whereby 6 players in your team's half, 4 players in the opposition half. So if this kind of thing is happening, with Diogo Jota or Firmino in the middle trying to force the ball like this, and Salah, if supposing man is the ball, Salah going in, you're going to have men going like this while this guy is focusing here. There's a very likely possibility we're going to see a late man run, and what I'm suspecting is that he's going to be from the left. If Thiago is starting, I'm very sure he's starting because he was on the bench in the weekend. I have a feeling he's going to start this game, provided he's not injured yet again. I expect this man here to make runs to this area of the pitch, zone 14, this side of the pitch called zone 14. Oh, my marker. This side of the pitch called zone 14. I expect somebody to be here. Maybe Thiago, but in most cases I expect it to be the right central midfielder, the right number 8 to actually be here. And if you see somebody passing the ball like this, thereby he has a chance at goal. This is a strength of Liverpool that should be taken quite serious. They are going to stretch the pitch with their 12 forwards, wide forwards, Mane and Salah. And in the second half, I expect this to happen a lot in the second half. If Luis Diaz comes in as a substitute, maybe even in the night, he might actually start Diaz, club might start Diaz. If Diaz starts, I expect him to actually stretch the pitch. He's going to stretch this pitch so wide that this centre back will have no choice but to follow him. And it's to follow him, and in this case, there's actually room over here. And if someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold is boy, you know how dangerous his diagonal balls are. So, Inter have to be very wary of this. Liverpool will stretch the pitch in this game. Another strength of Liverpool in the games is this. They cross a lot of balls into the box. According to FBref for the Premier League alone, Liverpool crossed a total of 58 balls. Have crossed a total of 58 balls into the box alone in the Premier League. I think that is one of the top 3 highest number of crosses in the league alone. For a side that is as big as Liverpool, they cross a lot of balls into the box. And most times when we hear a team crosses the ball into the box, it simply means that team is a bit, maybe you might say it's a relegation threatening side like Burnley, because we all know that Burnley is a 4-4-2 team that does a lot of crossing to the box, but Liverpool do this excellently well. They cross a lot of ball into the box, and this man here, called Trent Alexander-Arnold, whenever he's with the ball from this area, Inter need to be wary of him from this area. Trent Alexander-Arnold, in most games I've watched him, once he's in this area, he's always looking for a way to cross the ball in here, and he's always going to the far post region, where Mane, in most cases, is always heading the ball in. It's always Mane that is always targeting, or if it's not Mane he's targeting, he is looking for Diogo Jota. The moment he's with the ball in this area and he looks set to cross, be looking for these two men, Diogo Jota and Sadio Mane. They are always excellent when it comes to heading the balls in the box. We've seen a lot of matches whereby these two men, both of them are not up to 180 cm in height, but the way they head the ball, you will actually think that they are like Peter Crouch, or you think they're like Peter Crouch, because their heading capability is so excellent. So once ever he's with the ball here, be careful. Or in some cases, when he's in the half space, because these days Trent Alexander-Arnold is not coming a lot into the middle of the pitch. It's rather than being a pure fullback that gets the ball and cross from the side, from an angle from the side. These days he comes in with the ball around this area. This is what they call the half space. This kind of space, these are the kind of areas you see Kevin De Bruyne when they're with the ball, they want to pass in. He comes into this area and he crosses a ball excellently well. I don't know how he does it. In some cases, in most times when he's in this area, he most times crosses the ball too. If it's Jota that is starting, Jota is the one he's always crossing the ball too. Or if you watch the game against Burnley in August, where Liverpool hosted Burnley at home, he came into this area with the ball. The moment he got into this area, I don't know how he did, he just passed the ball excellently well that Sadio Mane was now in the middle and he got the ball and he had the chance at goal, which he scored from. Trent has involved this game so well that you can't say you expect him to cross the ball from the side like before. You don't expect him to cross the ball from the side like before. These days he's unpredictable. He can cross from this side, here, half space, or in some situations, even the middle of this pitch. He has developed into a fullback. He has evolved his game as a fullback, whereby you can't exactly pinpoint where he's going to cross the ball from. So Inter have to be wary of this Liverpool strength. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a danger man in this game, and judging that Perisic doesn't recover fast enough to help the defense, he is going to have a lot of room in this right hand side, a lot of room in this right hand, and in some cases they have space. Inter should be wary of this. Now, another situation Inter should be wary about when it comes to Liverpool is this. Liverpool are excellent in scoring goals from set piece situation, that is dead balls. They are excellent in dead ball situations. In the Premier League alone, Liverpool have scored 7 goals from set play. Be it from a corner, a direct corner, be it from a free kick, or be it from a throw-in. They're all dead ball situations. Liverpool have scored from dead ball situations. Inter need to be wary of this, especially when it comes to corner kicks, because in corner kicks of late, we've noticed that Virgil van Dijk has become a threat in corner kicks. So Inter Milan, when there's a corner, they should actually make sure that Van Dijk doesn't have free movement within the penalty area. Once there's a corner, someone should be with him. Or in my situation, in a case, I actually suspect they should actually perform a zonal marking than man-to-man, because if you do man-to-man with someone like Virgil van Dijk, there's every likely possibility that he's going to escape you. He's very good at movements in the box when it comes to corner kicks and free kicks, indirect free kicks that are going to lead to goals. He's very good at that, so Inter should be very wary of that. Equally, when they're also doing free kicks, Inter should be wary of something like this. Let's say this is an Inter Milan war. This is a war. This is a free kick. And this is an Inter Milan war. Inter should be wary of something like this kind of arrangements. They should be wary with this kind of arrangements. Once Liverpool takes a free kick like this, notice that there's always a spare man here. In most cases, one of the forwards. And in most cases, the forward that least heads the ball. Liverpool will arrange someone here to actually, how will I put it? There is someone here to actually cause a distraction to the keeper, like there's going to be an offside. But in theory, once this ball is crossed, it's not going to this man. This man is just a decoy. He's expecting that one of these players from here is going to get this ball that's coming in and connect with a header that's going to threaten the opposition goal. That is what it's expecting. In most cases, when this ball is crossed, this man is coming in. This man is coming in while these attackers are going forward, thereby disturbing Inter's offside trap for the free kick. And in most cases, once the forward gets the ball, it's always going for goal around this area. So Inter should be very wary of this in set place. Dead ball situations involving Liverpool are always very, very, very dangerous. Now, another thing that Inter should be wary about in this game, I think this is the last strength of Liverpool, is this. They should be wary of the Liverpool counter. In recent games, especially games whereby we've seen Javier Elliott and Jones, as Elliott has come back from injury, we've seen Liverpool perform a transition, like I mentioned earlier, 6+4, whereby maybe from a failed attack by Inter Milan that they've committed bodies forward. The moment this ball is won, in some cases, I've noticed this a lot, the moment this ball is won, either one of the centre backs, or in some cases, Trent Alexander-Arnold gets the ball after the ball has been won. Based on Inter have committed bodies forward, there is always a fourth man in the attack that tries to receive the ball. In most cases, it's always from the right, and it's always Javier Elliott or Jones. If it's Jones that starts the game, Jones will be on the left. If it's Elliott that starts the game, Elliott will be on the right to be that fourth man. If it involves Jones, Trent Alexander-Arnold will be with the ball. Jones is already somewhere here, and Arnold is passing to him. Sorry if my curve is like this, but that's just how it is. It's passing to this guy here, thereby doing 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-man transition. This is the what they call over here. This is 1, 2, 3. Let's say this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is what I call the 6+4 transition. Arnold passes to this man over here, but just as sorry for the power delay. My country, they take light anytime they want. And that is also a signal that I have to be fast. So this is what I call the 6+4 transition. It's something you can Google up, 6+4 transition play, whereby there's the movement of the ball forward and you have 4 men already attacking 3 of Inter Milan's back three. So Inter should be wary of this. This is something Liverpool have been playing a lot since during the period when Javier Elliott was available. When Javier Elliott was fit at the beginning of the season, and when Jones starts. But in a situation whereby Henderson, because I suspect the midfield 3 is going to be Henderson, Fabinho, and Thiago. They might not play it much, but depending on how the game goes, I expect that if one of them is going to be replaced, it's going to likely be, say, Henderson, and it's going to be Javier that will play this thing. But Inter should be wary of this 6+4 transition play. Liverpool are excellent at it, whereby they now have, in this half, a 4v3 situation. They've already outnumbered the Inter Milan defense based on the committed men forward, and once they lose the ball, this plays. Now, when it comes to a situation of weakness, Liverpool actually, they won every game in their group. They had a total of 1, 2, 3. They had a total of 18 points in a group with Atletico Madrid, Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid, FC Porto, and AC Milan. That was tagged the group of death, but Liverpool made mincemeat out of that group and got 18 points. Now, for a club that wins 18 points in the group, that shows you that they are a very, very tough team in this year's Champions League. And there are not many weaknesses in their game, but with what I've seen in Liverpool's game, there are not really many weaknesses in their game. Inter should be very, very, very ambitious with this offside trap that Liverpool play. This offside trap they play. In the game against Crystal Palace, we noticed that Crystal Palace had a lot of joy bypassing it. That is, they easily bypassed it. Inter need runners in this game to bypass this offside trap because Liverpool are going to play this a lot, and I'm very sure based on this an away game, they're going to play this offside trap to frustrate their opponents. So if I'm Simone Inzaghi, if I want to beat this offside trap, I might need to make my wing backs a bit close to the fullbacks of Liverpool, my wing backs. Thereby, if I'm with the ball, since this is a 1v situation, 1v1 situation, if this guy has the ball, there should be ghost runs from one of Hakan, Çalhanoğlu, or Gagliardini, or one of Gagliardini or Vidal that is going to start. There should be runs that actually bypasses. They should actually make runs that actually bypasses the offside trap. They should make runs that bypasses the offside trap. Crystal Palace exploited this a lot when Liverpool visited Selhurst Park. They exploited this a lot. Many teams have not been able to crack it easily, but Crystal Palace did, and I think Simone Inzaghi should actually watch that game and notice how the offside trap was exploited. Another weakness of Liverpool is this. In most matches, this area where Trent Alexander-Arnold is always a weakness, where Trent Alexander-Arnold is always far up the pitch assisting the attack. In a situation where this occurs, this area is most cases free. This area of the pitch is most cases free for the opposition. And based on this and away game, that is why I suspect Jordan Henderson is going to start this game, because once Trent goes forward, Liverpool's swing 8 system, when the fullbacks go forward, this number 8s, they stretch out wide to actually prevent the opposition players from coming in so defense easily. Because if you bypass these two players, these two central midfielders, you just have, in most cases, Van Dijk and Joel Matip against the entire attack. Inter should exploit the right hand side of Liverpool, because Andy Robertson is always someone that recovers very well. He's very good at recovery, but Trent is not one that always recovers, because they expect him to still be up the pitch, so that if the ball is regained, he can get it and he can start another attack. So in this case, if Inter Milan say they muster out that is they spoil the Liverpool attack, I expect Ivan Perisic to already be making a run here. If they spoil an attack, maybe the ball comes to Çalhanoğlu, he's very good in seeing what is in front of him. He has a very, very good passing style. So you expect him to actually survey the area, and his pass is meant to find Perisic. Inter need to exploit this a lot, because Trent's area is actually a point of weakness in some matches, in most matches, because he's so far forward, and it's not his fault, because that is his role. He's supposed to be an attacking, I want to say an attacking fullback, but the way he plays now, it's almost as if he's not playing fullback again. So I expect this kind of thing in tomorrow's game. Perisic and Hakan, Çalhanoğlu, they're supposed to exploit this area whenever Trent is far up the pitch. Now, in this game, I actually see this as a point of weakness in Liverpool. Since Inter are playing with a 5-man midfield, I think, and I suggest Inzaghi should do this. Inzaghi should actually pin down Liverpool's fullbacks with his wing backs, whereby they have direct marking of these fullbacks. Dumfries and Perisic against Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold respectively. We want to see something like this on Wednesday nights, whereby these two fullbacks do not venture forward. They need to pin them back, and if possible, if any of the fullbacks is with the ball, this guy over here can still be with his man, but can also offer support to actually cut out his passing lane. Inter have to be very strategic here. Liverpool don't have a lot of weakness in their game. That is, They're almost like the perfectly well-oiled machine out of England. Them and Man City, they're almost like a well-oiled machine. So they have to find a way to pin these two fullbacks, because if you can nullify these two players, nothing happens up front. Salah, Jota, Firmino, Mane become almost virtually useless in attack because nobody supplies them the ball, and those in midfield are actually meant to be there as bodies. They are not creative enough. So if you can pin these two back, you've already gotten, let's say, 25% of the job done, because Liverpool, even if you pin their fullbacks down, they still have a way of bypassing it through their centre backs, giving a long diagonal ball directly to the fullbacks. Directly to the wide forwards. So doing this is like 25% job done for Inter in this game. So I've already talked about both teams, their strengths, their weaknesses. Now it's down to the game. I see this game actually going, very, very nice. It's going to be an entertaining game if you ask me. Italy versus England, Italian coach versus German coach, so entertaining things. Inter are actually the best team in Italy by my books. After all, they're actually on top of the log. But they're the best team in Italy in my books. While Liverpool, let's be sincere, they're the second best team in England behind Man City. So it's going to be a very entertaining game. I do pity whoever is going to officiate this game, because it's going to be end to end. If you had to ask me who's going to win it, I think Liverpool will win it, but it will be like, say, a 2-1 victory. It's not going to be by a huge scoreline, because I expect a very tactical game from Simone Inzaghi when Liverpool come to the Siro. But ultimately, I see Liverpool winning this. They will get a favor, or they will get a draw. We know the away goes rule doesn't exist anymore, so I expect them to actually come to this game either winning it, slightly winning it by 2-1, or a draw. Inter are going to give them a run for their money, but Barella's suspension is going to affect that midfield. When Barella plays, Inter play like a complete machine. He's so good. He's the perfect Mazzala. Sorry, I'm trying to use my Italian there. My Italian accent is fake. He's the perfect Mazzala of the ball, the perfect carrier of the ball. But since he's not playing, Inter don't have a good carrier of the ball from midfield to attack. So a lot is going to be demanded on Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And that is why I think this midfield battle, they have to win it at all costs, even as Barella is not staying. But ultimately, I see Liverpool winning this game 2-1. 2-1. So thanks for watching the big game analysis preview. I really enjoyed what I was doing here. Please do well to like, comment down below the video, and at the same time subscribe to my channel so that the YouTube algorithm can actually put my video out there for people to watch, and I can get more subscribers, and you can make the channel grow, and more people can be entertained by the content I bring out. Once more, my name is Siro, host, presenter, CEO of Bills TV. Thank you for watching, and have a lovely big game Wednesday. Cheers.